Yo, what is up guys, Grim here, and in today's video we're going to be doing another map result kind of test, and we're going to be talking a little bit about the economy as well as a few other things. But I wanted to lead off by giving you a bit more information on the kind of red map situation. After my layer test, I went and I did some super juiced up tier 16 maps, and I was really feeling the kind of returns from the Legion mechanic. So I kind of wanted to share my experience. It's anecdotally completely. I have not got any data to back this up, but I did feel like I was getting a ton more Marika than Templar. Templar was indicative, like in our last test, that it does drop more on red maps, but I was feeling like I was getting even more in tier 16 maps. So I don't know if that's just luck or RNG. I did probably about 50 or 60 tier 16 city squares, and I was noticing a lot more double general kind of fights. I was noticing a lot like higher quantity and caliber of loot. So like instead of like 1 or 2 fragments, it would be like 2 or 3 pretty much every time. And I was noticing a lot more splinters dropping just like randomly, like I'd get like 10 Templar splinters or 12 Marika splinters instead of like 3 Marika splinters, which I get in white maps. So I definitely feel like it's a bit of a difference here. I'm not sure if it's because I was like super juicing them. I had lots of pack size, quantity, and all that stuff, but I just thought I'd share my opinion there. Now, in terms of the overall kind of argument, which is better, red, white, what are we going to do? I think that a good white or yellow layout, which really takes advantage of the Legion mechanic, is going to be the best. You can really change your build up when you're running white or yellow maps. You can kind of focus on clear speed, you can focus on magic find, and that can be a little bit difficult in red maps. Often you'll be dying a lot more in red maps. All that kind of stuff. Like red maps are a lot more expensive to run right now because of the sextant prices. I don't know why they're so high, but they are. So yeah, definitely probably want to be focusing on some lower tier maps, because I think you're just going to make that money back tenfold just on the expenses alone. Like white sextants right now are like 1/3 of the price of yellows and reds. So you're definitely going to be looking at making a lot more currency there just already. So I think favor the white maps, yellow maps, and leave the reds for now, unless you're looking for big EXP or you get some crazy character to clear those out or something like that. So that's going to be that, and we will now talk about the sextant prices. So they've gone crazy, they've gone through the roof. We've seen the white sextants cool off a little bit. They're not as crazy anymore. They were like almost pushing 2.5 there for a little bit, but now they're down to like 1.7, 1.9. That's what I've been getting them, kind of like people coming to sell them to me at. I've got like buy orders on them and stuff like that, and they're continuing to go down. So that's going to be allowing us to use sextants again, which is pretty fun. Just for a little bit there, it was getting pretty crazy. But I will actually be doing an Alk and Go test, a very big Alk and Go test coming up. We'll talk about that at the end of the video. But yeah, we'll get straight onto the main course here. We did 100 shaped alleyways, and the reason I did shaped is because that adds the journeyman sextant to the drop table, and those are worth like 4.5 chaos right now, so there's no reason not to do it. And it also lets you drop more like higher range of maps, so you can drop stuff like Strand, you can drop stuff like Beach, City Square, Burial Chambers. All these things have a chance to drop, and those are just additional maps that you can sell for 1 chaos each, and they do sell throughout the day if you have enough of them. So just more chaos orb kind of chances in the pool, and it worked out pretty well. In terms of the layout, it's actually pretty decent. I kind of grew tired of it pretty quick, due to the fact that there's like lots of like cart stalls and all that kind of stuff would get in the way. The main attraction here for this map is the Saints Treasure Divination card, which in the past, with full magic find, sextants, and chiseling, I was able to get 1 in 10 maps, like 1 every 10 maps in arcade. So I thought I'd have pretty good chances in this map. However, you will soon find out that was not exactly the case, for me at least, and it turned out to be 1 in 20 maps in this test, even with 4 sextants and volley and alking. So we'll get straight into the results. We'll talk about it a little bit, and we'll go over whether I think Alleyways is a good option, and then we'll talk about the future content coming up. So straight into this spreadsheet here. So just to begin with, obviously we have a higher cost kind of buy-in than our other tests. We've got expenses of 677 chaos here. Like if you compare that to some of our earlier tests, only 412 here. So already we're not going to be able to make as much money compared to our earlier tests. which is a bit unfortunate, but that's just how it goes. So you have to consider that when going into it. Obviously, you can't make as much currency. And in addition to that, Exalted Orbs are also far more expensive than they were earlier in the league. So it's kind of harder to get an X per 100 maps than it was like before. So it's like more hard to get 12X per 100 maps as opposed to like the same amount of chaos, if you kind of get what I'm getting at here. You're going to get a lot more raw chaos, or the same amount of raw chaos, but you're going to convert that less into X, which is kind of what I'm saying here. So to get into it, I was also doing ambush. Whenever I hit the strongbox section, I thought it would be pretty good for the divination card drop. I didn't actually get any off the monsters themselves, but one of the boxes did drop a card. So this probably isn't worth it unless you're using Magic Find, but maybe you should try it out as well. The thinking here is that at 4C, you get 4 boxes, you can't really lose. At least 1 C per box is pretty good. The thinking is sound, although I don't think it worked out to be all that good for me personally, in this test at least, but I'd probably continue to do it moving forward using sextants. But yeah, it is a little bit annoying when you're recording data as well, because it likes to rip the chaos orbs out of your quad tabs, so you have to manually count the chaos orbs and record them as you're mapping, which is kind of a pain. So maybe I wouldn't use that going forward. Actually, we'll have to see. Again, Vial orbs are going up in price as well, and so are alchemy orbs. For some reason, I don't know why they are, because you can sustain them. Okay, so moving on to incubators. We're making a pretty consistent amount of currency every single test of incubators, despite the fact that some are going down in price and some are going way up in price. In general, a lot of these are still like fairly like pretty underpriced for the most part. Like the foreboding, I can say with confidence it's worth about 10 chaos if you just use it on yourself. You're going to make 10 chaos raw off using it. Obscured, this one I'm still testing, and I think a lot of these are just going to be kind of like taken off my filter. Like Abyssal at low item level, I'm probably going to take that off because I just don't think it's worth selling, and it's going to be too difficult to kind of extract value out of that. So I'll be modifying my filter moving forward with those, especially like with stuff like cartographers. You don't want to be using them. No one really wants to buy them, so we'll take them on in the future. But for consistency's sake, they're here for now, and in the future they won't be. So in terms of the currency drops, we did get 4 Exalted Orbs, we did get 2 Annulment Orbs, and we did get 1 Divine. So pretty standard Tier 1 currencies here. It looks like we can really just come to expect 6 Tier 1 currencies per test. Generally, the rest of the stuff is pretty run-of-the-mill, stacked decks, you know, the usual. We're really seeing a lot of less profit because we're not having the sacrificial fragments, and the price of them went down. We'll actually update that a little bit here. Oh, actually, it's pretty much updated right now, yeah. So you probably can only sell the Midnights for about 2C now. That's what I've been selling them for. And Noons, 2 or 1C, we'll say 1C for the purpose of this test. So yeah, without the big bulk sac frags, we're not going to be seeing as much profit in the kind of like miscellaneous section. And I've stopped picking up Val, Karui, and Eternal because I just don't think it's worth it. 10 splinters for 1C is just not worth it when you're moving as fast as I am. So Templar America is still very good to pick up. Pick a lot of currency off them. Now, I didn't get any big drops here in the unique, so that's why it's also going to be affecting the kind of results a little bit. Unfortunately, we did get 223 T7 maps back, so we over-sustained by over double, which is pretty insane. And we also got some bulk maps to sell. I would recommend you guys also like adding to your filter stuff like Strand, City Square, Burial Chambers, Glacier, you know, all that kind of stuff like that, Alleyways, because people do buy like 40, 50, 100 of them at a time for 1C each, and that can really pump up your kind of profits a lot. So again, as I said, we got 5 Saints Treasures. That's 1 every 20 maps instead of 1 every 10, which I was getting with Magic Find and Chisels. But at the end of the day, I'm not using Chisels, so I save a lot of currency there. And yeah, that's looking pretty good. Like that would have been like another 200C buy-in. So I'm not sure if that would have been worth it, especially with the Magic Find. So I think it's fine to just get 5, but that is on par with Rigwald's Quills cards. So it's probably a little bit scary to farm this map if you're looking for like Monstrous Treasure and stuff like that. It's probably better to farm the Rigwald's card in layer. So in terms of miscellaneous drops, we the best we got was like an Enlighten, as I said, not too great. Fossils, these are all kind of like really lowball values, like singulars, but I sell these for ridiculous prices in bulk, so you'd probably be making up quite a bit of money here. So in terms of the profit, we only made 9.2 exalts, which is okay for 100 maps. I probably did this in about 2 or 3 hours. In terms of like playtime, you can see I was doing pretty damn fast. Obviously with all my gear on right now. Yes, I will be making a movement speed tornado shot guide. It will be coming. I'm just still testing out a few things, getting a few items and really trying to min-max everything. So overall, I think another thing to note was interesting in yellow maps, I actually didn't get any gilded scarabs from the monolith over 100 maps. So I definitely noticing like kind of a big difference here. I'm noticing a lot more gilded scarabs in red maps, specifically T16s. Like I noticed them dropping a lot more than in white and yellow maps. Like, so they might be able to drop there, I'm not sure, but I definitely do notice it significantly in red maps that they drop a ton more. So yeah, definitely very interesting there. We will jump back into the video and we will talk about a few other things because I do have a few things that I want to say. So the next thing I want to do, obviously, is I'll release the incubator data. I was still doing like kind of some tests with like the unique maps one and kind of stuff like that, the essence one and like all that kind of stuff. It's going to be released pretty soon. I just want to do a few more things on that. Now, I actually believe that there's a different strategy which I might be moving forward with, kind of which doesn't involve sextants, it doesn't involve vials, and that is alchemy and go. So my next project is to see how many in-game hours it will take me using alch and go maps to farm a headhunter, and I'm gonna stream it on Twitch. So I'm not gonna do it like in one sitting. I'm not gonna like farm a headhunter in one sitting. I'm just going to like do a few hours here and there. You guys will be able to see everything. I'm not gonna leverage my big bank account. Like I'm not gonna be flipping mirrors to try and get the headhunter or anything like that, like I've been doing like on the side. Like I think that's cheating. I'm gonna do pure alch and go. I'm gonna start with 100 maps. And then after that, I'm going to use everything from the dump tabs to kind of sustain and roll more maps. So it's kind of going to be like a pretty legit experience, as if you guys went and bought 100 maps and alched them all yourself. The map we're going to be doing is probably going to be Jungle Valley. It's a very quick map, and the kind of idea behind the strategy is to just barrel towards the monolith, finish the rest of the map in like 10 seconds, maximum movement speed, maximum like chains, all that kind of stuff, and just see if we can get like, I think I'd need to get like 650 chaos per hour to get a headhunter in 24 hours playtime. Now I do believe this is possible, and the kind of like basis of this test is like I'm going to stock up on things like prismatic eclipses. I'm going to have them in my stash ready because I know I'm going to be getting a ton of kind of like betrayal encounters. I'm also going to buy a bunch of Chalula breach stones just to have in there so I don't have to like mess around with it. And another few things I'm going to be doing is I'm going to allow myself to like sell and buy currencies off myself. So obviously the two things will be kept separately, but to kind of avoid like annoying like trade interactions with like the currency bots and all that stuff like that, which takes like a long time, I'm going to allow myself to like buy exalted orbs off myself for chaos at the current rate on PoE Ninja, and like at the other way as well. Like if I need alchemies, I'll buy the alchs off myself, but then like I'll pay the chaos, if you get what I mean. So it'll be pretty accurate. It'll just cut out some of the really annoying trade time, and that's kind of boring for a stream anyway, in my opinion. So yeah, I'm aiming to try and get a headhunter in 24 hours playtime. That's pretty ambitious, I know. We'll see. I think you can get it maybe if you get lucky with white sockets on the prismatic eclipses, and obviously the exalted orb drops, or maybe I get like an overabundance of wind ripper drops. We shall see, but that's going to be all there on Twitch. I'm just Grimro on Twitch. You guys can check that out if you want to. Obviously incubator data, we're going to do some historic jewel stuff coming up as well, and you'll have the build guide. It's going to be a massive build guide. It's going to be a big spreadsheet for it. You guys are going to be able to see how to gear it up for emblems, speed clearing, leveling, and magic finding. There's 4 different things with it. So give me some time on that, but that's going to be all for this video. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed this kind of little update, and I'll see you guys in the next one, and maybe even on Twitch. I'll see you guys there.